the Trump accounts, as they call it, pilot program, which will make it possible for countless American children to have a strong start in life at no cost to the American taxpayer. Absolutely no cost. It's going to have a huge impact. Born after December 31st, 2024, before January 1st, 2029, the federal government will make a one-time contribution of $1,000 into a tax-deferred account that will track the overall stock market. In other words, it'll be pegged to an index that we'll pick, right, Michael? We'll pick it. We'll pick a good one. Maybe you should be the index. I'd like to have that. These kids would be very wealthy if that were the case. That would be good. I think we might do that, Michael Dell. These accounts will be private property controlled by the child's guardians, and in many cases, those guardians will be the parents. We think probably the parents will be the guardians. They'll be open for additional private contributions each year from family, friends, parents, employers, churches, private foundations, and more. This is a pro-family initiative that will help millions of Americans harness the strength of our economy to lift up the next generation, and they'll really be getting a big jump on life, especially if we get a little bit lucky with some of the numbers and the economies into the future. In addition to the substantial financial benefits of investing early in life, extensive research shows that children with savings accounts are more likely to graduate high school and college, buy a home, start a business, and are less likely to be incarcerated. Trump accounts will contribute to the lifelong success of millions of newborn babies. They are fully, and this will be very interesting, I think, for everybody to hear, they are fully funded through targeted reforms in the One Big Beautiful Bill, like the $1.7 trillion in mandatory savings, welfare reforms to stop waste and fraud, a 3.5% remittance tax, and more. And it's just a part of that. The One Big Beautiful Bill is among the most important pieces of legislation in our country's history. I don't think there's ever been anything bigger. And I think it's going to go down as certainly one of the most important things we'll ever have done. In addition to the largest tax cuts in the history of our country, including the most powerful border security measures ever, it delivers major economic relief to the American workers' families. And there's so many things. Rebuilding our military, we built it just 8 years ago. We started and did a great job, but now we have to rebuild it again, plus technology change. All of a sudden, it's about drone. We have a new form of warfare. It's drone warfare. So a lot of things change. We did a great job with the military, but now we're going to have to do some little tweaks, to put it mildly. And we'll be doing that, and we have it all nicely funded.
This means, for example, that having a fighter jet with a human in it makes absolutely no sense. So all of a sudden, the logic of everything that we in our military do just doesn't make any sense, right? You should be building attritable, automated robotic systems for defense and offense.
I think with Circle, there's a really big kind of shift on Wall Street, which is they are looking to figure out where's the intersection of cryptocurrencies and traditional finance. And obviously stable coins, I think, is one area where they've said, hey, not only is this something that the market wants in terms of the free market of users on the internet, but it's also something that we can benefit from ourselves as well. And you hear many of the large banks and financial institutions talking about using stablecoins themselves. So it's something that is touching on crypto, but it's something that they understand and they can use themselves. And so I think maybe a word of caution is that every crypto company that now tries to go public may not get the same welcome. It may be more of a stablecoin story than it is a crypto story. But then there's companies like, Gemini, which are great businesses and seem to have done really well over the years. And so it's really just going to come down to not, are you a crypto company or are you not? Are you a good business or not?
So tell us about Gemini's business.
Well, I think with Gemini, one of the things that they've always said is, look, they want to be a regulated U.S. financial institution, right? And so they've run ad campaigns all across the country doing that. They've really, I think, listened to the users and said not only they want to have the right interfaces, they've come out with this crypto credit card that gives crypto rewards back to users, very popular product. And so I think that what you're starting to see here is a meeting of traditional finance and crypto, right? If you look at exchanges, Robinhood is a traditional brokerage exchange. A very fast growing segment of that is crypto. If you look at Kraken is a crypto exchange that's trying to add U.S. equities. And I think companies like Gemini are saying to themselves, well, what other financial services can we offer to our user base? And this credit card that they came out with is a good example. And I think you'll see all of these exchanges continue to do this in the future.
The Robinhood markets really built up last week on the expectation of going to the S&P 500. It was down more than, I think it was down more than 5% earlier. Now it's off by about 3.3%. Weird moves like that don't faze you much, I guess.
Coming from the Bitcoin world, a 3% move is, just par for the course.
Yeah.
But look, I do think that we have an entire generation of investors. I call them either self-directed investors or independent investors. Retail, it now owns something like 36 or 38% of U.S. Stock in the market. It's the highest percentage they've ever owned. These people are used to volatility, and a lot of it comes from the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency world. But now you're starting to see volatility trickle into the U.S. stock market as well. And obviously things like tariffs on, tariffs off, and other kind of geopolitical events are leading to that volatility. But what you're seeing is that retail has convinced themselves they are just going to buy the dip. And as they continue to see markets go down, they buy the dip, and then we get those recoveries. And I think that's why you see institutions sitting on the sidelines and not having as much exposure to U.S. equities as maybe retail has had this year.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you join the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. Also, go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And you can't make this stuff up. Trump accounts. Every baby gets $1,000. And that would be wonderful if they actually gave it directly to them and then they had to invest it themselves. But this $1,000 goes into the gambling casino. So what do you think these big corporations and big banks are going to do? That's right, gamble with these billions and billions of dollars. You can't make this stuff up. Remember, your life is an illusion and TV is your reality. They knew that these big banks and big corporations are about to take a hit. And how do you funnel money to them? That's right. Every baby gets $1,000. Guys, it's genius. Evil genius, but it is genius. And then we have Trump on the military. That's right. Technology is coming. And guess what? No more humans are going to be in warfare. It's not happening, people. It's going to be the machines. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And we have pump on Circle's IPO, and that thing is pumping. But remember, I told you guys, it's definitely going to pull back. You'll get another opportunity. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. But we know these stable coins are the foundation because they keep the Fed in control. These stablecoin issuers have to buy U.S. Treasuries. And we know the dollar is going to be devalued. And smart money is going to run into assets that hold their value. Well, you see it all the time in the emerging markets. What do? They dish their own currency and run into the dollar. Now, smart U.S. citizens are going to dish the dollar and run into Bitcoin or gold, whatever is going to keep the value of their currency. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And we had Trump deploy the National Guard to California for up to 60 days. And they didn't ask for it. But we know they're doing this for a reason. The only thing you have to do is sit back, get your popcorn, and let it play out. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. Because he knows. When it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Well, I think it's a great question because because Bitcoin, I think there's three things that people want Bitcoin to be. They want it to be a store of value, a medium of exchange, and a unit of account. See things priced in Bitcoin eventually. In order to get there, what we are seeing is that Bitcoin is succeeding and the US dollar is succeeding. They're both strengthening together, and it is the weak fiat currencies that are kind of falling at the feet of those two. Now, one of the things that stablecoins have brought to the market is there's a lot of people around the world that say, I would like to use Bitcoin as a savings account. I call it a digital savings account. I would like to spend something that is not going to be worth more in the future. And so I'll use the digital dollar and these dollar stablecoins. And so if you think about today, the average finance user, they have a savings account, they have a checking account, and they have a brokerage account. That's what we're basically seeing recreated in the digital world. You're saving in Bitcoin, you're spending in stable coins, and then you are going and you're speculating on whatever assets you want in your portfolio. What I think the big question becomes, and I don't have the answer, I don't think anyone does yet, is as we continue to see the destruction of the purchasing power of the US dollar, are we going to see people start to price things in Bitcoin? Now, I don't think that's something that's going to happen in 1, 3, maybe even 5 years, but I do think that there is a growing group of people who say, look, this thing called Bitcoin is ultimately going to be a store of value, as it already is, but it will become a medium of exchange as well. It just needs to get to a point where the world all agrees on what is it worth. And if you think in 2018, the world thought it was worth $3,000 a coin. Today, the world thinks it's worth $105,000 a coin. It's going to continue to go higher, and at some point it will reach some market equilibrium. And then when you see that switch over into, okay, now things are priced in Bitcoin, I think that's kind of the hyper-Bitcoinization that the Bitcoiners are waiting for. But there is a long path to get there, and the sequence right now is, why would I want to spend my Bitcoin if it's going to be worth more in the future? Right? I want to spend the dollars that are going to be worth less in the future.
How many stable coins based on the dollar do we need? And is Ether the best blockchain network to be carried on? Can it be carried on a Bitcoin blockchain? See, I'm telling you, I'm a bit in the woods.
And look, there's a number of different stable coins that have different kind of twists to them. So if you look at Tether, for example, Tether has really said, what we want to do is we want to take the US dollar, which is one of the best product market fit products ever created in human history, and we want to bring it to people in the emerging world. They have something like over 400 million users. I think they're gaining 30 million users per quarter. Just crazy numbers. $13 billion in profit, over $85 million in profit per employee. Amazing business. Circle has said, well, let's go and actually be the U.S. regulated financial institution and try to go get distribution through exchanges like Coinbase and others. So both of them are attacking a market from two different ends, and I think that both will end up having a business. But then you also get a number of stable coins that say, well, what if we take the interest that we're earning from the treasuries that we're holding and we start to return that back to some of the holders? You get all these different twists, and we'll see what ends up happening.
Mostly good. Some of the things you're reading about in Los Angeles, thank goodness we sent out some wonderful National Guard. They've really helped, and a lot of problems they were having out there. They were afraid to do anything, and we sent out the troops, and they've done a fantastic job. So I want to thank them very much.
The early hours of Sunday morning, President Trump and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth unlawfully federalized 2,000 California National Guard troops for 60 days with no indication as to when they intend to stand down. They did so without authorization from Governor Newsom and against the wishes of local law enforcement who were on the ground, a situation that didn't warrant the National Guard. In fact, by this time, the first few hundred troops arrived on Sunday. By the time the first few hundred troops arrived on Sunday, the protests had mostly dissipated and streets were mostly quiet and calm. Since Trump announced his plan to deploy troops, the situation on the ground has escalated quickly, with unrest growing overnight, causing highways to close and
going to a different economy. And we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we can have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting it more right now with Bloomberg's Sonali Basak. Sonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets. Now,
it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Crypto Teacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 Kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, BitChute, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know, I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Drama Team save the village. Part 2. King Yahshua and Grandma Tanya save New York. From COVID Stories 3, Part 3. King Yahshua and Grandma Tanya goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.